What's going on, Jello family? In today's video, we're going over what does a project manager actually do. For those of you who are curious, I am a UCLA MBA as well as a Google Meta project manager. I've managed teams on Google via Google Cloud as well as Meta through growth marketing. So I have a ton of project manager experience as well as I have an MBA from the number one public school in the world, UCLA Anderson School of Business. So let's jump into it. The first thing a project manager does is they initiate the project. So a lot of times when you're working as a project manager, you have senior leadership telling you, hey, we have this important project that's coming from the vice president. We need you to help execute it and make sure it happens accordingly. So a lot of times during my time at Google, at Meta, I have some VPs reach out saying, hey, we need to kind of create Google's new strategy for getting to new countries. Or with Meta, we need to create a new strategy for helping with our growth marketing when it comes to acquiring new marketing channels, or even just helping lower down the price for whatever marketing channels we have currently. So then you get this ask from leadership to help on a project or plan, whatever it may be. And it's your job to really just kind of execute it. The next phase after really initiating the project, you have to begin planning your project. How does planning work? Well, planning is really interesting in a sense that you need to have really a software. A lot of times, these big companies like Meta, like Google, we use software like I believe we use Adobe software, Workfront, and then at Meta, you'd use a software MS Projects, which is Microsoft's project management software. It's just whatever the company or your team is using. It's kind of fascinating because throughout the planning phase, different teams, different roles will require different softwares. So if you're like on a team within growth marketing at Meta, you may use MS Projects. But then if you're on a team like on Instagram, they may use a different software. It just depends whatever company or team you're on. You gotta use whatever software that they like to use. And it's really important and crucial for you guys to learn project management software because that's how you track your projects. Like there are some teams who track everything on an Excel sheet, and that is very inefficient because you can't ask people to do things, you can't escalate, you can't really kind of have this project management tracking method without a project management software. So I recommend you learn one or two softwares and like an MS Projects because that will just give you the foundation of how to use project management software. And then what you do is you're going to create milestones, timelines, resources, and just kind of estimates for each project. This will be kind of very essential in the planning phase of a project. When it comes to planning, you're going to work with some stakeholders, your senior management to figure out what are the key milestones we need to achieve, how long do we think it's going to take, and then where or who or key stakeholders for each of these projects. That's one really thing that's really important about project management when it comes to project management software and planning. Once you plan everything out, you get everything approved by senior stakeholders, you're going to have to go into the execution phase. And the execution phase is pretty interesting. This is where you start working with different teams. You need to identify which teams you're going to be working with to execute on a certain project. So, how does execution work? So, I need you to really think about okay, if I have a project for Google where we need to do land acquisition, which teams are important to work with? Well, I think we need to work with the finance team because we got to understand what budget we'll have, how much we'll need to spend to acquire this land. I'll need to work with the legal team because a lot of times when it comes to legal, when it comes to purchasing large entities or large pieces of land, we need to have the legal clearance to do so. What's next? We also need to work with a corporate approvals team because a lot of times when you work with a corporate approvals team, you'll need to go through several kind of budget approvals, several approvals in order for you to actually get the funding or the approvals to purchase an entity or land for Alphabet or whatever country or whatever kind of entity you're working for. So that's one thing when it comes to really kind of executing. There's a lot of execution where you're going to create several tasks under your project management software. And in those tasks, you're going to just basically figure out okay, if this major milestone I have to acquire land will require multiple tasks or subtasks for me to accomplish this, I probably should write this down. So that's one thing I did at Alphabet. I really had major tasks, bucketed it into subtasks to accomplish that task, and then assigned it to different stakeholders who could possibly help me with that certain task to achieve that and accomplish that certain goal. After execution, you need to monitor and control. What is monitor and control, right? Monitor and control means when you have a task, your task will require several days, several months, several weeks, whatever it may be, to execute. So you need to monitor the status of that. How do you monitor and control the status of that? You set up bi-weekly appointments. You set up weekly appointments with each of your key stakeholder so you can figure out, okay, you've progressed this far. How much more time do you need? And that was why project management software is so key for monitoring and controlling things. You need to track the performance of your project, because if you don't track the metrics, the performance, people are going to be like wondering, what is this person doing to help contribute to the project if they are not tracking anything? So one of the most important things you got to do is always monitor, control, track performance. Take a look at these changes. What has happened? How far are we going? Is this 100% complete? Is this 50% complete? Is this 20% complete? Do I need to raise an escalation? Do I need to reach out to different teams? Or need to reach out to the manager saying, hey, this is extremely crucial for the project to continue. Can you please remove this blockade for me? Or do I need to basically find out another team who can help out with this certain task? So monitoring and controlling is extremely important. You want to be extremely transparent with your projects, with the status of everything, so people are aware of how fast you've progressed, how well you're doing on your projects. Remember, in project management, perception is reality. So if you are very, very transparent with where you are, people are going to say you're doing a great job. If you're very kind of close to the chest, not showing what you're doing, people are going to wonder if you're actually doing anything. So with project management, perception is reality, my friends. So do your best to monitor and control. Track the performance of the project. Send out a weekly status report saying this is where we are on this stuff. This is what's late. This is what's going well. Here's what we need to execute. So monitor and control the current status of your project. It's going to be key for you to show how well you're doing, because in project management, perception is reality. After that, we get into our fifth thing, which is closing. This closing phase is just really ensuring whatever project that we're executing on, our clients or stakeholders get these deliverables that they need. Whether it is that we were looking to acquire land for Alphabet, did Alphabet acquire that land? Or for consulting for a growth marketing on Meta, did we get a cheaper budget for whatever we're trying to kind of get through their growth marketing channels, or do we acquire new growth marketing channels for Meta? So you got to really look at what deliverables you're looking to achieve in the beginning, and then did we achieve them? And you show these deliverables, achievements, by having metrics behind them. So if we acquired land for Google, we can say we've acquired about 100 acres of land for our data centers. This land was worth $40 million, and we project it should generate about $80 million in revenue, something like that. Same thing with the Meta example, right? Do we acquire new sales and marketing channels? We acquired this marketing channel for about $1 million. We project that it will make us $3-4 million in the next few years. So you really need to have data metrics associated with your deliverables. That is how you judge on the success of a project. You can't just say, it looks good to me, or it sounds right. No, metrics and data are how you show your success for a program or project. So I appreciate you guys watching this. We actually have some bonus tips. So here are the really 5 best kind of skills I recommend for a project manager. I've done this at Meta. I've done this at Google at the highest level. I've got my MBA from the top public school in the world. Here's where I saw it really set people apart. Number 1, communication. Do you have strong communication skills? This is a must. Project managers must work with several teams, several stakeholders, and several clients. Can you communicate well, talk confidently, show your communication skills? Because project management is basically asking a lot of people to do things for you, and people want to work with people who communicate well and are a pleasure to be around. So make sure you're a great communicator. 2, leadership. Leadership is crucial because you need to motivate the team, your stakeholders, to execute on what you need done. So be confident when you talk. Be confident when you speak. You do this by outworking your self-doubt, having the metrics, having the understanding how a project is working, having the understanding what you need to do to execute and be successful. Number 3 is time management. Time management is crucial because a lot of the tasks you have are under a certain time frame and need to be completed. You need to complete this certain task within 1 week, this certain task within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it may be. Your senior leadership yourself are on time crunches. So make sure you execute with time management and solve the problems, whatever you may need. Number 4 is problem solving. You're going to run into a ton of problems when it comes to project management. Things are not going to work. People are going to call out sick. The project's going to fail because a certain team is not doing what they need to do, and you need to be able to deal with fires. So understand, problem solving is a huge and essential thing for this. Last but not least is organization. Be extremely organized with what you do. You show organization by helping document things fully, keep receipts of whatever you're doing. Whenever at Meta, whenever I was at Google, I always kept documentation of how procedures, processes work, and then I get approvals from my senior leaders so they know I'm actually creating documentation so that when the next person comes in to execute on this certain task, they'll do a great job and achieve this certain task that they're gonna be doing because I've created great documentation for that. So, Jello family, I hope you learned a lot from this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm doing a ton of project manager, program manager videos because I've learned so much at Google, so much at UCLA, so much at Meta, and I just want to share my knowledge for you guys. If you want to book time, please look below. Happy to help you guys with any career advice, getting a role in project management, program management if you're curious. It is a hourly fee. There is a fee associated with whatever I'm doing. If you guys want coaching, link is down below. I will have a course in the future, but this is Angelo Carlos. I'm a UCLA MBA, #1 public school in the world, as well as a Google Meta Project Manager. I've executed on the highest level from the best companies in the Silicon Valley. Appreciate you, Jello family. Have an amazing day. Peace.